Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Selectmen's meeting tonight, Tuesday, August 19th. We just finished our 6:30 appointment with Attorney David DeLuca, our executive session. I'll read the rest of our agenda. 7 p.m., we have citizens' input, topics not reasonably anticipated by the chair 48 hours in advance of the meeting. 7:10 p.m., we have the Town Hall Working Group. David Feldman will give us an update on the Town Hall process. At 7:20, we have Town Manager Bill Keegan who will provide us with the Town Manager update, and then we'll follow with action items and information. So, John, can we have the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, approximately 7 p.m. Anyone here for citizens' input? Okay. None. All right, so I guess we're a little bit early. Why don't we take one of the action items here? Ginny, can you turn?
Yep. I move that the Board of Selectmen approve a one-day beer and wine license for the Orpheum Theater Bay Colony Productions for Friday, August 22nd, 2014.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0.
And the second one is, I move that the Board of Selectmen accept a donation of $250 to the Foxborough Historical Commission from the Foxborough J.C.'s for the Silent Sentinel Restoration Project, and thank the J.C.'s for their donation.
I'll second that as well.
Great, thank you very much. To the J.C.'s, all those in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Well, we have 2 more minutes for our next agenda item. It was very nice walking in tonight to hear the Foxborough High School marching band practicing. They sound terrific already. Look pretty good. So,
Excellent.
getting ready for this fall season. It's great.
Do you normally inform the public of those?
Yeah. We have a couple of information items. We can take those out of order. I'll just do the first 2. The Foxborough Planning Board regarding 204 East Street has provided us with a notice about a new development going on in that area that they have provided some approvals to move forward on. Looks like there will be 12 homes that will be built in this area. And the other item also from the Foxborough Planning Board was the approval of an accessory apartment to be added to 94 West Street.
And that looks like 10 past to me.
Excellent. Okay, so it being 10 past, the next item is Town Hall Working Group. David Feldman's going to provide us with an update. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. So, in the coming meetings, the group's going to be focusing on the South Street location, and we are looking at a renovation and those costs and the possibility of it being fiscally viable. Although the working group is leaning towards the building new for greater cost certainty and the fact that we may not have to relocate town hall operations, we do want to look at the renovation seriously and just will, be able to present that if it's viable. We are working on the webpage. We actually have the link set up on the home page, so you don't have to fish around for it under a different department. You can just go right to the home page under news and announcements, and there'll be a link directly to the working group where we'll be providing weekly updates, reports, and other correspondence for the public. One of the things we're working on is finalizing the frequently asked question component that citizens may have where they might not be able to get to somebody, but it'll be posted on the website. We've drafted an article to be posted in the Reporter, which should be going out, I think, tomorrow, Bill?
Yeah, it's ready to go.
It's ready to go.
Yep.
We've all had a hand in it, and we think it's going to be a comprehensive update to everything that the working group's been involved in and all the different issues that we've discussed, debated, wrestled around on the carpet with, and actually, we seem to be all working on the same page right now. We also want to set up a Facebook page, and we need to discuss that at the next meeting to see who's going to be responsible for setting up that Facebook page. Everybody wants it, nobody wants to be responsible for it, so.
I wouldn't have to do it.
Well, gotta ask our kids.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. We need the younger.
Yeah.
A couple.
So,
That's right.
in the electronic age, I think a Facebook page would be important, because that'll afford the public to actually post comments, and we could be able to see it and respond to that as a group. We did look at a comp study of a similar building. The town of Drake recently built a 20,000 square foot new town hall from the ground up. They spent $9.3 million. The unit cost about $465 a square foot. Not to, throw out numbers, but we are looking in a range between $400 and $500 a square foot for a new building.
Is that building complete?
I believe it is.
Right, okay.
I believe it is. Interesting,
I get up there occasionally, I should take
Yeah.
a look at it.
we're right on time for on our timeline for putting out an RFP for the soft costs. We have a subcommittee on the working group that is working to vet out the RFP. Hope to go out either by the end of the month or early September, with bids coming in by the middle of September.
Excuse me, Dave, could you explain to the audience what the soft cost
Yep.
is?
I was going to get that.
Oh, sorry.
We talk about soft costs, and
I have my glasses.
it's a construction term, it's a development term, but soft costs are all costs not directly related to the physical construction of the building. Items such as architectural, engineering, land costs, accounting, project management, environmental studies, advertising, insurance, taxes, interest, legal costs, are all considered soft costs. Any cost that's pre or post-construction, such as temporary moving, relocation expenses, those would be considered soft costs. What we're going to be presenting to the town for the soft costs is primarily the architectural costs, so we can move this to the next phase of conceptual plan development, moving right into working drawings, and then be able to present to the voters real costs, real construction costs for a building at a future town meeting sometime in the fall of 2015. But we can't get to that point unless we have funding to engage an architect to get those conceptual plans going. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, but we have a clear path, and everybody's working hard. So.
Thank you. Any questions for David?
Madam Chair, I'll just add that the comprehensive update that was pulled together during the past 24 hours effectively was, I think will be really helpful to a lot of folks to understand the scope of the work that's been done for the past 4 months. We're looking at every single option there is that we know about anyways, and that and while we don't universally all agree on what the approach should be, we don't move forward unless there is a significant agreement about where we should go, so that we, at the end of the day, there's an understanding that we're trying to move all in a cohesive approach. There is, as David pointed out, that we're close to getting to the point where we'd like to just reach the conclusion that we're moving in the direction of building new, but we're not comfortable with just dismissing that option without making sure we're checking a few things before we get to that point. We want to make sure that's a defensible position that we can take. By and large, though, there are a lot of reasons why we don't think that's a viable option. But we're just confirming a lot of information at this point. And, you know, the building is old. We're seeing some failures, you know, in the roofing systems now. When the roof is starting to leak, the mortar is starting to leak. There's all ADA and, you know, accessibility issues.
The gutters have quarter-size holes in them.
Exactly, and there are lots of reasons why we should not look at that as an option right now. But at the other side of that is that we want to make sure that we consider all the issues. Probably one of the most compelling issues there is that if we can actually find a way to build it in the parking lot on the same site, we can stay in the building while that's being constructed, that saves a huge moving cost. It also creates a plus for the public in the sense that, you know, they will continue to be able to use town hall as well as the employees use the town hall, so and business will continue as normal, even though it will be disruptive at times. So we think that if that's one that's probably the most acceptable to the members of the committee, and that's a direction we would like to go if we can possibly do that. The other considerations are that in this explanation, we described the reasoning that we used towards looking at Payson Road, so that everybody understood our logic in that. And then we also described the reasoning that this board used, as well as the planning board used, in coming to the conclusion that we should stay at that location. So we've covered a lot of ground with this report, and some may think it's too long, but I think it's important to get all the facts out there as much as we can. And we'll continue to update this information as more information becomes available to us.
Now, Bill, we had hoped that this would be ready for a special town meeting in the fall. And
Yes.
before we got together, we were talking about what the possible dates for that might be. Is that solidified at all?
We are looking at, we've talked amongst ourselves as November 17th would be the appropriate date for a town meeting. So we'll be back to early September, asking for the board to concur with that, with the call for a meeting. And,
Early September, you think you'll have this all packaged up?
Well, we'll call for.
At least an idea of the soft costs.
Yeah, we'll call for the meeting, at least call for the meeting. We have to go through a procedural process of calling for the meeting
Right.
and establishing articles that said opening and closing a warrant for that meeting. And that has to be done in early September so that we can meet the time requirements for the meeting in November. But we're going to continue to work right up until late September, early October to try and grab as much information as we can. And then we'll start making our presentations and doing our outreach. We're doing our outreach now, but we're going to do more outreach as the time draws near.
You said October 17th?
November 17th.
November
17th, And it's a Monday, I believe, right?
Our ability to present conceptual plans and specifications are limited.
Right.
Until we get the soft cost for, under the RFP.
Right, I think it's important to make sure that everybody's expectations are consistent with what ours are, and that is that we do not intend to be presenting detailed plans or ideas at town meeting. It will be, the idea will be, this is what we've learned, this is what we think is the right approach, this is the site that we're looking at, this is the type of size of building that we're looking at. We think we've narrowed the square footage down to a range of about 13.5 to 14.5 in that range, which is even lower than the first estimated. It was like I think 17,000 was the original estimate. So we've reduced that range down to what is a range which virtually everybody on the committee agrees with. So I think there's no issue, no debate over that. So the question now becomes is, you know, can we garner enough support from the community to get behind this project?
What's the square footage of the present town hall?
Well, it depends, because the original building, I think, was bigger because they used both floors. Now we're just using one floor. So, it's a good question.
They're using 6,700 square feet.
Yeah, right now. And it's
It's extremely tight.
It's very tight. You know, so where people are literally sitting on top of each other in many cases. So, and there's no meeting space, really, to speak of, in the building. And that's usually the biggest need when you build a town hall, is adequate meeting space so that we're not meeting here, we're not meeting all over town to conduct business. So, and that eats up a lot of square footage as well.
Yeah.
All right, so that's,
Great,
all.
looking forward to reading that,
Yep.
and that'll be on the town website.
it'll be on the town website. I'm gonna give it to Frank this week, so you'll have it.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Okay, you have it? Okay, great.
Somebody sent it.
Okay, great,
Thank you
excellent.
so much.
Just
Yeah, and then, so we'll get that word out.
Great. Just on a related note for the board's information, at our next meeting, Sharon, as you know, is working on the RFP for the properties, the fire
Yes.
station, related to coming up with financing of this type of project.
Mhm.
And so I met with the planning board last week with Sharon, and we have feedback that we want to bring to this board at our next meeting to get your input, and then we'll take
Yep.
that forward to the Town
That's great.
Asset Review Committee.
Yeah, that's another important point, is that, we want to demonstrate to everyone that we are moving on ahead on several fronts right now. That particular front is important because that's been one that I think that folks have been looking forward to for a long time. One other important point that should be mentioned is that I know there's been a lot of concern, and it's been recently come out in the press recently about maintenance of town facilities, and that's not falling on deaf ears. We are very committed, the working group is very committed to that position, that we want to establish a centralized facility maintenance operation. I've already committed to everyone on the committee that I've embraced that idea and that concept, and I'll be presenting some ideas and concepts to folks for the annual town meeting for next coming year. But we are working on the groundwork of that piece right now. I've already had conversations with the school department about how we can sort of meld that together and make it work. But that's really an important piece of this equation, is that once we build something, we have to maintain it. And we feel very strongly about that.
It's been a 20-year discussion.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get it in the budget.
Lorraine, when you, I was at Water and Sewer last night, and the question to me was, what has the Asset Committee been doing? So
Okay.
could you reach out to Water and Sewer?
Sure.
Because they have their issues with the need, the new
Availability of sewer in
Right.
that area. Okay,
So they
sure.
were concerned about that.
All right, thank you. Okay, thanks again, Dave and Bill, on that. All right, so the next item is Town Manager Bill Keegan is going to provide us with an update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are a couple points, a couple issues I wanted to bring the board up to date on. This past week, I've been receiving information from Town Council relative to the approval of the bylaws that went to, and actions sent to the AG's office for approval from the annual town meeting. One particular article is becoming a little bit problematic, and that's Article 18, which was the article that increased the payment of to folks on the senior work-off program. You recall that the reason we did this was because the IRS requirements that we have to charge taxes to folks who actually use that program, thus reducing their overall income on that program. The action that the town took was to increase that to $10 as a minimum payment. However, the AG's office is saying that actually conflicts with state statute, which says that the program is built around minimum wage. And when minimum wage is $8.50, if I'm not mistaken, right now. So, however, the state has actually taken the position, based upon a filing of the governor, I believe, to change that from $8.50 to eventually $11 over the next 3 years. So, as of January 1st of this year, so that number's going to go to $9. And then it goes to, I believe, $11 by January 1st, 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
Is the solution to that to index it to the minimum wage?
Well, that's the only thing we can do, and essentially, and otherwise we throw the baby out with the bathwater. We don't want to do that. So the council's advice in town and the AG's office advice was, look, we understand what you're trying to do, and it's admirable for what you're trying to do, but it's inconsistent with what the statute allows. So we need to go with what the minimum wage is right now, and it will increase on January 1st of this year. It will also increase again the following year, and eventually we'll be at the number that we want to be at. Otherwise, the alternative is to not approve it, and then we don't have a program.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and I think this is the right solution, the right decision. So without conferring with the board, I took it upon myself to say, go with that solution, because that seems to be the best solution for the community here. And they needed an answer so they can get their answers out to us. So that's the direction I wanted to report back to you on.
So do we have to, do we have to revote this at town meeting? Or can we just send a letter and change the language?
No, what the AG's office do, will send it back approved with the language indicating that that is indexed to the minimum wage. So that way, it'll be legal all the way around.
Okay.
So there's no further action taken on that. Right? I know that some folks will not be happy when they see that, but
This
it is.
program's already underway.
It is
there
underway.
any retroactive adjustments?
It's not likely. I don't think we're going to
Okay,
do that.
that
I wouldn't advocate for that. I mean, I think we just go as is.
Doesn't seem like a good use of time.
No, and I agree. And then, secondarily, I wanted to report to the board that I have concluded the first round of telephone interviews for the assistant town manager's position. There were over 100 applicants for the job. I narrowed it down to 23 people that I spoke to on the phone. I've narrowed that down to 14 candidates. I'm conducting interviews all day tomorrow. I have 2 on Friday, and I have interviews coming in on Monday as well. I actually had to establish 2 panels because I couldn't get them all done in the same day. It's an extraordinary field. I mean, I'm very pleased to report that, but it makes it extraordinarily difficult on the other side of that. So, but I've actually had 2 interesting folks, actually 4 interesting folks who are going to help me with this process. One is the town administrator from Canton is coming here. The assistant town manager from Weston is going to be here tomorrow, male and female panel members. And then on Monday, the town manager from Brookline will be here, along with the assistant town manager from Northborough will be here, and again, male and female panel members. So they'll be assisting myself and Randy Collins in the panel interviews that will be conducted over those 3 days. So we're looking at a pretty good group, and I hope to be. My plan is to nail down the finalists by the 25th, to make the decision, cut the field to 3, possibly 4, and then do final interviews on the 28th, with a hope that I'll be able to make an offer to someone by the end of this month.
So you're reasonably on schedule?
I'm right on schedule right now. Yeah, so that's my goal. My goal is to have someone here by October 1st. So. All right, so that's the latest on both those fronts. And then I did have one piece of correspondence information that I wanted to convey to the board, and that was the fact that this board received, actually town council received notification from the AG's office that 2 open meeting law complaints that were filed by Heather Harding, who was the complainant, both dated January 17th, were overturned by the AG's office, and found that the board was not out of compliance with the open meeting law. Both those complaints were found, according to the language here. It says, following our review, we find no violation of the open meeting law. In reaching this determination, we reviewed complaints filed with the board's responses, and the complaints filed with our office. And they also had spoken with counsel for the town in June and July, as well as with Randy Collins, the finance director, who was a witness in this case as well. So congratulations to the board. There was no violation as determined by the AG's office in those complaints.
Thanks, Bill. Again, I just want to say that obviously we're pleased with this decision, but again, it points to that this is a complicated law. I don't expect that people are filing these complaints frivolously, and so I think, again, it just shows how complicated it can be to understand the law when you try to read it. So, again, we just move forward, and I'll repeat that I can confidently say that no one on this board would ever willfully violate this law. So we just move forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I guess that's everything on our agenda for tonight. We've covered it all, right?
So who's going to win the pool
Nice
tonight?
compact meeting.
Who's going to win the pool tonight for how short this
John
meeting was?
called it at 7:30.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, thanks.
great, thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.